are loaded up this morning, as you can see. If you're just joining us, it's Get Up. We're live above the Heineken River deck at Pier 17. McNutt is here. Bartholomew is on fire today. D. Wood ready to roll today. We got Seth Greenberg. We got Bobby Marks. We got a cast of thousands. They are, this morning, they're trick-or-treating as each other. We appreciate them making the effort to do that for us today. We begin in the NBA with what we hope is not really bad news. Now, the Warriors beat the Raptors last night, but the story was that fall. Steph Curry going down hard in the third quarter. He was ruled out with a pelvic contusion. Got an MRI last night. We are waiting for the results. Again, it was a scary-looking play. You see it one more time. Here was Draymond Green after the game.
He hit that ground hard. You can hear it. It's crazy. Obviously, a very scary moment for us, for him. Hopefully, he's good.
I think he speaks for everybody. Now, for what it's worth, and clearly there are so many reasons that you want Steph back as quickly as possible, but for what it's worth, since they got Jimmy Butler, they've been much better without Steph. They're plus 60 in the 300 minutes that Curry's been off the floor. The point is that before they got Jimmy Butler, they were minus 90 when Steph was off the floor, which suggests, Monica, that they are less Steph reliant. It certainly doesn't mean that they can do anything of consequence without him. So let's live in a world where we hope that he is going to be just fine. I think that ultimately, I think the key here is they're battling like crazy to stay out of that play-in, and this obviously won't help that.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that you point out the way that they've been able to be successful in the minutes without Steph. But Steph and Jimmy Butler are intricately connected in terms of how they've been able to buoy this Warriors squad. One plays on the perimeter, the other plays in the paint, and gets to the free throw line, and the two of them work together. So yes, hopefully this is not a long-term thing. But I guess the thing for me, Greeny, becomes, well, who do they have to go play next? Because Jimmy Butler, we know, he did it for years in Miami, is accustomed to being the centerpiece and carrying it. Now, it's obviously been refreshing that he has not had to do that. But can he hold this team in its position as they battle this? I think they're getting ready to go on a 6-game road trip.
Yeah. They've got, do we have the schedule here, guys, by any chance? Because we showed it earlier this morning, and we'll have it for you in a moment, I'm being told. They generally speaking, yes, they're going on the road. They're playing teams they should beat, or certainly could beat.
Correct. And I think it's important to note, as much as we were talking about this and we think of the offense, in the last 15 games,
here it is. At Atlanta, sub 500. At Miami, really struggling. The Pelicans, it goes without saying. The Spurs, I know they won a game the other day. So that's 4 games right there, boom, 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 that I think that they have a chance to win, right?
I would agree with you, and Bobby probably knows this, but in their last 15 games, they have the best defensive rating in the league, and they are averaging 10 steals per game. And so they've come on both sides of the floor. So when you see some of those teams ahead of them, Bobby, you're not exactly worried.
No, that's the point. So, Bob, earlier in this program, for those of you, many people join us off the top of the hour, Bobby was talking about how he could see literally any team winding up in the conference final with OKC in the West, depending on how the brackets fall. How do you feel about the Warriors? Let's live in a world where Steph winds up being okay, because we certainly hope that he is. If he's seriously hurt, then that changes the dynamics of literally everything. But in a world where he's back and playing, at his best when we get to the playoffs, what is the Warriors' ceiling with him and Butler?
I think they can get to a Western Conference Finals, but they got to stay out of that 4-5 range, right? If you're at 6, you have a chance. But if you move up to 4-5, it's actually like you'd rather just kind of freeze where the standings are right now. I do think they have a legitimate chance here just because how Jimmy Butler has played. He has elevated everyone else on this roster. And as Monica said, yeah, they've got a defensive identity as far as with this group. They're 7-3 in games where Curry doesn't play. So they show that they can win games when he's not on the roster, when he's not playing. But just looking at last night, Greeny, Draymond Green, if Draymond Green shoots the ball like he did last night, and he took 14 threes and he made 5, that gives him such a different dynamic as far as where their roster is. He was 1 of 11 from 3 for the previous 3 games. So is it fool's gold? I don't know, but I think that's certainly something to watch.
All right, we'll obviously keep an eye and an ear on Northern California. If we get any news whatsoever on Steph Curry, obviously we'll pass it along immediately. And
NBA